I mean, you know what the worst part is when people get done for murder? These boys ain't murderers, bro. They're idiots. Idiot's the right word for them. There should be a conviction that says idiocy. Because they're not murderers, bro. They're idiots. These people will stab a guy and pray for him right after and say, God, please don't let him die. But then he does. And now you're doing a life sentence. No, really. And that's what's really going on in London. It's not, oh, I want to kill that guy, so I'm going to take a knife and stab him. Everyone's scared. I'm from North London, Edmonton, but I was born in Germany, Stuttgart. Well, my parents gave birth to me in Stuttgart. They moved to England when I was about, 7, 8 years old. And I grew up in London ever since, innit?
And how would you describe growing up in London?
I say it's wild. I say it's wild. Do you know what I mean? It's what you make it, innit? But I just say it's wild. Yeah.
And what was your education like growing up?
It was good. I went to Eldon Junior Primary School. After Eldon Junior, I went to 2 secondary schools. I went to Bishop Stortford Secondary School. After Bishop Stortford, I went to Enfield Grammar Secondary School. So like, yeah, I really did enjoy going to school when I was younger. I enjoyed doing a lot of things when I was younger. Like I enjoyed school, yeah. I definitely enjoyed going to school still.
What kind of grades did you leave with?
Cool, let's just say, unlike a lot of like my friends, right? When they was at school, they didn't know what they wanted to become. They was just like, a lot of them had like football ambitions or like all different types of ambitions. Like some wanted to become doctors, some others, but majority of them didn't actually know what they wanted to become. I, from a young age, always knew what I wanted to become. Anyone who knew me from as early as 12 would know A said he's gonna be a rapper. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like, in terms of grades, I would say I'm very book smart. I mean, anybody with a high IQ will be able to look at me and tell he's book smart. He knows a lot. He's very intelligent. However, my behavior when I was young and the things that I was involved in didn't allow me to leave school with grades. I was kicked out in year 9.
What for?
Stupidity. How do I describe it? It was just like, just stupidity, random. Looking back at it now, we're a lot grown, but back then it was just school fights, like boys being boys, and yeah, it was a bit dumb. People fighting outside school, and then the word got back to the school about the fight happening. Quite a long story short, I don't really like to go into detail too much, but I'll say narrowly what it was about. It was like a fight was happening between 2 people that I knew. Well, I knew one of them. A knife was brought to this fight, which I wasn't going to allow to be used. So I took the knife to ensure that only fists were used. During the commotion of the fight happening, police ran into the park, the scene of the fight where it was happening. And they obviously, when police come to a scene, they search everyone there. So obviously they found the knife. And then I was asked the question, does this knife belong to you? And I said, yeah, it does. I didn't claim that it wasn't. And the worst thing about it was it actually wasn't. But it's just life. It's how it works. It's like, it's not how it works. That's the wrong thing to say, but it's like, it's life. Like growing up from it now, you look back at it, you feel a bit dumb about it, but it's life. Like you move on from it. But nevertheless, this happened outside school. I played for the rugby team. I loved rugby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually loved playing rugby. So where it happened outside school, I was kind of hoping I could still maintain my school life and I wouldn't be kicked out of school, but just Enfield Grammar took it upon themselves to obviously remove me from the school at the time.
You was in a grammar school?
Yeah, I went to Enfield Grammar. It's a sports academy. But obviously, they removed me from the school at the time. Now, I can sit here and pretend like, oh, I didn't care about that, but I did. Like, those guys are my brothers, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as people, you know, like, link me to the roads and the streets and this whole from the 9 and A1 and blah, blah, blah. Like, everyone just knows me as a cool person behind all that. Like, all those guys I went to school with, I went to an all-boys school. Those guys were my brothers, man. Like, I genuinely lived for those people. I would wake up every day as a kid with the biggest smile on my face in the morning because I know I'm going to see my friends, like my brothers. So when I got kicked out of school, a lot of people would try and pretend and act cool. Like, yeah, I got kicked out of school, bro. I was burning. I was pissed off. I didn't want to get kicked out of school. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, tell me about the story that led you getting deported from the country.
All right, cool. So when I was 17 years old, I was caught in possession of a kitchen knife, right? Looking back at it now, you can't turn back time, but I wish it never happened. But it did happen. I was 17 years old at the time. I was making music, and I was getting way too much attention that I even knew how to deal with or handle. Like, I was literally dropping a video and bam, 500,000, bam, 1 million views, bam, 1.6. And back then, like, now YouTube has changed, algorithms have changed, there's a lot of views being gotten on YouTube. But back then, 1 million views was a big deal, do you know what I mean? Still is now kind of thing, but it's like, I was doing it at the age of like 15, 16. So I would drop a song like, it'll get 1.4 million views. I'll drop 2 Illa with Trems and I'm 17, it'll get that's on like 3 mil now. But back then it'll get like 2 million views. And as a young person at 16, you're getting all that attention. You don't know how to deal with it. And London is actually a scary place. You know why? Because all you see on the news is constant death. All you see on the news is, oh, that guy I used to see when you was younger, he's dead. That guy who with his daughter, he's dead. That guy who you used to see when you used to go to youth club when you was about 12, 13 years old, he's dead, he's been stabbed. Oh, so it becomes almost like an expectation to die. Because you see it happen with so many people on the news and on the social media. That person's dead. It just keeps on going. So like, when you're a musician, you hear it from all types of people. You hear everyone in your ear saying you're targeted now. Because the minute you get millions of views next to your name, you're no longer just a normal person. You're targeted. You're a target to individuals. You're a target to the public. Because that's the reality about it. People will target you for this stuff because you make music. So like, in a place where people were dying and they weren't even rappers for nothing, right? And this is gang affiliated or not gang affiliated. Because one thing people like to always do, no offense, my opinion of it, I feel like racist people always like to paint the brush and just say, yeah, they're all gangsters. No, majority of people dying from knife crime are not gang members at all. They're just being caught up in it. There's like the whole knife crime thing on the streets of London is a plague. But I'm not going to sit here and say, I carry knives because I wanted to be the big bad wolf. I'll say what nobody else wants to say. I carried a knife because I was scared. My parents gave birth to me in Germany. Do you know what I mean? Nobody carries knives there. It's a totally different lifestyle. My parents brought me to London when I was young, and the things that I was shown growing up here, to a degree, traumatized me. For a fact, you can't grow up in London and that guy who, used to say hi to your mum, he's dead. And that guy who was a good kid, he's dead. And that kid from your I could be sat here and name a long list of people who are either dead or in prison doing a long sentence. It's impossible to know and see all of that and not be traumatized to a degree. So I'll say what people don't want to admit. Majority of people who carry knives, people might sit there and put on this whole act like, yeah, I do it because I'm the big man and I want to scare man and shit. Bro, you're capping. You're scared. You're afraid.
So what happened when you got caught with a knife today?
I was arrested with a knife. Cut long story short, I was arrested outside, and then I was charged. I was taken to court. We had a court date, and then I was sentenced to 2 years. Now, the reason why that's actually a bit mad is because the normal sentence for knives ain't 2 years. I don't be giving that to people, bro. I can list at least 5 rappers right now. I don't even want to start calling names and bringing people into this, but like, for example, there's a few rappers I know, they've gone prison for knives recently. Even J Hus went prison for like his 3rd knife or something like that. Listen to his music. Done like 4 months. Back to his career. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ain't even gonna mention this guy's name because I hate going on interviews and talk about these lot. It's just, I'm not giving man free clout. Obviously, the one with a wonky head shape, you either know or you don't know, you know what I'm saying? 50p, you know what I'm saying? Aye, the wonky head shape. My man, he went jail as well, you know what I'm trying to say? He went jail for a knife. He done like 3-4 months. When I did it, I was 17. When these people did it, they were adults. They were 24, 26. Now, when I done it, I got 2 years. 17-year-old boy, I get caught with a knife, 2 years. When they did it, 6 do 3. 6 months do 3. Or 3 months do half. Or 4 months do 2. 2 months. So it's like, to me, it was just a bit weird. Like, why was I being picked on to that? Like, why? And the police force can say, yeah, we're just doing our job. But let's be realistic. Doing your job would have been giving me a 6-month sentence and moving on. They targeted me in that moment in time because the trending topic for drill music at that moment in time was me. If you're looking at, before the term OFB even existed, right? Or before Tion even had 1 million views, it was A1 from the 9. Drill music, like real North London drill music. So police were just doing everything in their power to try and get rid of that. From music bans to... And that's the wrong thing. But the reality is, like, we was making... To me, drill music has always been a way out. I didn't make music to the police. It's like, oh, this is inciting violence. Absolute rubbish. Music was never to incite violence. Music was a way out. And that's how every musician will tell you the same thing. They make music because they see it as a legitimate income. We all have parents. Don't think they don't breathe down our necks and say, oh, you're doing... My parents are Nigerian. They be a man's ear saying, you're doing yo. You know what I'm trying to say? Make sure you have something to show for it, though. So I rap. Do you know what I mean? That's what it means to me anyways. Cool, so I was in prison. I done my sentence. Kept my head down. My release date came. So I've all packed my bags. I'm excited. I'm thinking, yep, home time. I'm going home today, going to see my family, back to my career. And then they're like, yeah, you're not going home. I'm like, why am I not going home? They said, you were born in Germany. I said, so? I've grown up in England since I was what? Like, at this stage, I don't even speak German. My first language is English. Do I sound German to you? Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? But it's like, I understand being born there and being born in Stuttgart, but it's like, at that moment in time, it was a bit of an...
So it was a case of you've come to the end of your sentence and they've just told you you're going to Germany?
Yeah, you're being deported to Germany. So it's like, first you get a 2-year sentence, which is already harsh, because I just given you 5 examples of individuals and other musicians who've gotten, 2 months, 3 months, 4 do 2, 5 do 3. And then when it comes to me, it's 2 years. I do a year in prison. I think I'm going home. I don't go home. They keep me in prison for near enough an additional year on something they call immigration hold. So it's like at the end of your sentence, they tell you whatever country you're from, you're on immigration hold now.
What was going through your head at this stage? Was this all new?
Yeah, to me, it was a bit shocking. To me, it was like, I'm calling my parents and saying, hold on a minute. Like, Dad, what's happening? I mean...
How old are you at the moment?
I just turned 19. Literally just turned 19 in prison this time. So I was phoning my mum and dad just in panic mode saying, look, my release date's gone past. And this thing actually takes a huge toll on your mental health because you feel a bit like an animal. No other country around the world does that. And I mean that. I understand somebody doing, like, do you know why it defeats the purpose, why it does take a toll on your mental health? Because it's like, you're basically saying, when I was in prison, I did my 2 years for what I did. You do the crime, you do the time, you serve it, and then you should go home to your family or you go and try and rehabilitate, right? The whole deportation thing and the whole immigration hold thing, do you know why it's so corrupt? They let rapists go home on their release date. So I've got to sit there and watch People who touch little children, pedophiles and rapists, go home on their release date. And I'm told that I'm not allowed to be released into the public because I'm too much of a risk to it.
So what did I do to you next?
I was kept in detention for a year, which literally drove my mental health probably to the brink, because I was just sat in a cell thinking it's been a month's passed. My release date was a month ago. 2 months have passed. My release date was a month ago. 3 months have passed. My release date was a month ago. The most painful part of it all is as time goes past, you see more people go home. So that guy who shot someone, yo, I'm going home today, guys. That guy who stabbed 3 people, I'm going home today, guys. That guy with the firearms, yo, I'm going home today, guys. But, oh, sorry, you can't because you were born in Germany. And you know the biggest scam of it all? Is that what my parents pay tax for? Is that what, or no offense, I pay tax for? A system that at the quickest opportunity turns around and treats me like I'm an outsider after growing up here? After going to primary school? It's not like, I can understand a country that in primary school said, hey, if you wasn't born here, stand to the left. And if you're British, stand on the right. Look at each other and point at each other and say, you have British rights and you have the rights of an outsider. That's not what I was taught in primary school. In primary school, I was taught you're all equal. You all have the same rights. I didn't carry knives because I'm a monster who came to England like Jeffrey Dahmer. I wanted to eat brains. The problem's here. People carry knives here to the point it scared me into doing it. And then, and then instant that, and then the fingers pointed at me for being 17 and being scared to walk the streets. I had millions of views. I was scared to die. It's the truth. Not because of no enemies or any of that rubbish. You die innocently. It won't even be the people that's... London has a habit of killing people, and it's the most random of deaths. It's... They had a road rage fight. That guy had a knife. He's dead. It's the most random deaths ever. So imagine being a target and you rap. And no offense, rappers are targeted individuals. They die more than anything. I remember back then, I dropped a song with Shoki. He was dead a week or two after. So now I'm thinking, bro, I just made a song with my man. Everyone's saying he's popping, now he's dead. So what, can't that happen to me? If he can die, I'm getting all these views. What's to say they can't happen to me? So now I'm scared. So I'm thinking, I'm not gonna die. Now, I ain't no monster. I'm not carrying a knife with the intent to go out there and intimidate members of the public or be scary. That's the last thing I'll ever do. When I carried a knife when I was 17, nobody would even know I had a knife. I was still a respectful member of the public. I'd see people struggling to carry their shopping and still help. Knives are only carried because I was scared. People don't admit it to themselves. They make out like, yeah, I'm the big, I ain't scared of no one. If you weren't scared of no one, you'd walk without a knife.
And so, hey, after they've, at any stage, were they saying you'll be going home at this date or you'll be released to this?
No, I was deported. I was dragged on a plane in handcuffs, tied in a restraint jacket on the back of a Ryanair flight, taken to Berlin. The staff walked me to the police station in Berlin and just ran off. And that was it. I walked around the airport in Berlin, didn't know where I was gonna sleep. I didn't speak German. So I got help from somebody who spoke English. So it's a bit weird. You imagine being deported to a country and you have to speak English to survive there. So there's obviously something hugely wrong in the system there that's not being looked at properly. But I walked around Germany.
So they've just put you on a plane one way to Germany and now you're there and that's your life now?
Literally. So they put me in handcuffs.
How much money did you have on you at this point?
Nothing.
Just fresh out of prison, no money?
Nothing. I think they left me like, was it like, I don't know, like, how much is it? I don't know, like under £100 or something like that.
So you're 19, £100.
Under £100, yep. And then
nowhere to sleep.
Nowhere to sleep. I spoke to a guy at the airport and explained our situation to him. He didn't believe it.
How did you bump into him?
Well, I was walking around the airport looking like a madman with a sad face on, like, wow, like, where the hell am I gonna go? Where am I gonna sleep tonight? Like, reality hits you after like 5-10 minutes. First 5 minutes, you're like, cool, I got the handcuffs off, I'm free, but where am I? then you start to kind of like panic, like, what the hell am I doing here? So it's like, I was walking around the station, just going in circles, and I bumped into this guy. He said, I've seen you walk past a couple of times now. You all right? And I was like, I'm not all right. I don't know where I'm going today. I don't know where I'm going to sleep. I've been brought here by a bunch of guys with handcuffs. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 19. He said, so where's your family? I said, they're in England. He said, how can they bring you here if your family's in England? I said, I don't know. They've just said I'm a risk to the public and they've brought me here. He said, so where are you going to sleep tonight? I said, I don't have a clue. He worked at a festival called Fusion in Germany. It's the biggest techno festival in Europe. He said, I work at this festival. There's loads of tents and rooms. If you come along with me, I'll have a word with my boss. I'll explain my situation to him and see what he has to say. So he took me to like he took me to a festival. I fell asleep in the car, which was dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Imagine meeting an absolute stranger at the age of 19 and dozing off in the back of the car. For all I know, they could have sold me on the black market or some shit. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, I was tired at the time, so I fell asleep in the back of the car. When I woke up, I was at a festival. There was loads of lights everywhere, loads of people just, to be honest, just all high off drugs. And then he took me to the office. I spoke to his manager and I explained my situation. And I kind of said, like, I make music, I rap. He said, yeah, you rap? Yeah, right. I said, yeah, I actually rap, I make music. He said, show me something then. So I showed him my video for that song, Op Niggas Part 2, was on like I think it was like just over 1 million views at the time. He's like, wow, that's actually you. Like, he's like, raw, like, you actually make music? I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, so how'd you end up in a predicament like this then? I was like, if I knew, I'd tell you. So he kind of said, look, I'll help out. And he did. He got me like an artist room. Like, they had like a moving caravan with loads of rooms for all the artists that I performed at the festival. And they helped me get into one. And I stayed there for the entire time of the festival. But the problem with festivals is this: there's no phone connection anywhere. So my mum was trying to reach me the whole time. And I wasn't at the festival enjoying myself. To me, it was a place to get my head down. Like, to me, it was a place to sleep. I didn't really do a festival, but like I had a place to stay at the festival. Festival was like 5 days. There's no reception anywhere at the festival, so my mum couldn't call me. She was panicking the most, thinking, where the hell's my son? He's been taken to Germany, and I don't know where the hell he is, but I wasn't ignoring her calls or anything along the lines. I was trying to call her every day, but it's just the whole location had no reception for some reason. I think they do that with festivals for some reason. But once the festival was done, reality kicks in again. So it's like, I didn't even get to do a festival, let's be realistic. I was walking around the whole thing sad and on my own. I was watching people have fun and just sitting alone. Do you know what I mean, kind of thing? But now festival's over, everyone's going, packing up and going. So now it's like, I need a place to stay. So I've gone back to the city in Berlin, and then my mum called me that night. So now my phone's got got reception. So now my mum's contacted me on WhatsApp that night and said, where are you? Like, do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Like, what are you doing? And then I remember just sitting there thinking, I want to tell my mum right now that I'm literally stressed out, don't know where the hell I'm going to sleep right now, but all that's going to do is have her up the whole night and not sleeping at all. So I made up some fake story to her. I was just like, I just said, Mom, you know I'm nice. Like, I'm cool. Some girl I met, she really likes me. She wants me to stay with her. She got a hotel room. I'm going to a hotel with her tonight. Don't worry about me, Mom. I'll be right. She's like, are you sure you're going to the hotel with this girl? She's like, oh. Mom's over there saying, oh, I hope, like, she's, you know, Mom's the type of woman to be like, oh, God bless this woman. Do you know what I'm trying to say, kind of thing? Little does she know there is no woman. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I only said that because I didn't want her sat there crying her eyes out at night, going, oh, my son. 'Cause I know she's already crying about me being in another country to her. But not knowing where I'm sleeping would destroy even more. So I just kind of took that one on the chin. But the reality of it is I didn't actually have a place to sleep. I was outside. I was literally just outside. I was just outside. Remember, I got caught with this knife when I was 17. Went to prison for it a few months after. And then come out of prison, a 19-year-old man in another country. I don't even know how to, like, I don't know where you start. I've never had benefits my whole life, so I don't know how it works. Where to go to get benefits, I don't know how to do all of that. Do you know what I mean? So I was really in a predicament where I've gone to prison for something I've done as a child, come out 19 as an adult in a whole other country where I don't speak the language, and I was lost. I was like, where do I go? And even if I didn't even know where to go, I didn't even know where to get a shelter or anything along those lines, because I just didn't speak the language. In England, for example, it's as easy as that. You literally type in homeless on Google, and some sort of information will come up. Do you know what I mean? But in Germany, I was just lost, because I was like, I've come out of prison, I don't speak the language. What am I actually expected to do? Like, what am I meant to do here?
How did you get back?
Well, during the whole thing that was happening, there was an appeal process that was paid for. My dad spent loads of money on a lawyer. I spent a lot of money on a case as well. There's no point capping about it. We both did, the whole family did as a whole. Do you know what I mean? Even down to my sister. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all spent a lot of money on lawyers to try and keep me in the country. And the sad thing about it is this, right? They've got something called the hostile environment, and it's lawyers are using it to make a killing right now, because it's like where people are being treated so hostile and being thrown into these like uncomfortable predicaments where they don't know what to do, or they're rushing, trying to, when a human being's in problems, he looks for a solution, right? So they're rushing to these lawyers who are offering solutions at costs, but those aren't actual solutions. They're just taking money off people. So my family spent loads of money. I spent loads of money on different lawyers who pretended like they were fighting the case in my interest, but they're really not. Pardon?
How long did you find it for?
This case it's gone on since 2017. It's still pending today. It's still ongoing now. So that 7 years, 2017, 6 years. That's 6 years of living in limbo. 6 years, I'm 24 now. My passport's been held by the Home Office for the last, 3 years.
How did you get back though? So you were appeal?
Quite honestly, sure, I done an interview in Berlin, and at the interview, I was kind of told by the person who did the interview, this isn't legal, bro. Like, your whole family is in England. Your mum, your dad, you lived there for majority of your life. What are you doing here when you don't even speak the language and your whole family's over there? Like, it's a breach of your human right, your right to a family life. I didn't even know some of these things. I was 19. So I wrote a long email to the courts, basically saying, what do you guys want from me? Like you're driving me to the brink of insanity here. Like, I'll be honest with you, when I wasn't with my family, I wanted to die. So I probably put that in writing. I said, you know what? You guys are driving me to the point where I'll probably do something to myself, and it's gonna be you. It's gonna be your fault. And how on earth could we pay for an appeal almost a year ago, and I'm just stuck in another country, literally, rough sleeping and battling with certain things that I'm not supposed to? How's it taken a year to get a court date? Like, what it was from the very beginning was an attempt to basically just chuck me in another country and pretend like it weren't illegal. And I'll say why. I know the law like the back. Like, when a human being's faced with certain things, you start to study the law. You don't look at me and think, oh, he's a little roadman, jaw rapper, so he doesn't know the law. It's on gov.co.uk. You literally go on the website and Google and read it up. I read up the law that affects me as a person and can tell you that what's happening to me is illegal. Whilst in detention centres, you learn about reference cases and how they work. So what the courts normally do, they'll use the judgment for one person's case to know how to judge yours. It's called a reference case. So I read up on reference case after reference case after reference case to know, like, I need to know the law. This affects me, my career, everything, so I need to know the law. And then I read up on a reference case of a male called Stravetsky. He's a male who broke into a woman's home, battered her with his friend, left her with bruises and scars all over her face and neck. Now, this man was convicted of it. They tried to deport him. However, they couldn't because he's been in the country for a certain period of time. So he was protected from deportation. Now, my understanding of the word justice is that everything's fair. So if you take a scale, and on one side of the scale, you put all the convictions of Strzelecki, a man who broke into a woman's home, stabbed a man in the neck with a glass bottle, done fraud, and you took all my convictions. I got caught with a knife a few times when I was a little kid, right? Before I even turned 18, before I even became an adult. I didn't get convicted of stabbing anyone. I didn't get convicted of harming anybody, of actually hurting a person. I got convicted of possession. You put both our convictions on two sides of the scale. I'm outweighed by far. Yet this man went to the Court of Appeal in England, won his appeal, right? That's not the only reference case. If I was to continue reading reference cases to your people who won their appeals, I'd be sat here the whole day, and they've all got worse convictions than myself. And that's what's happening now. So a case that should have ended in 2018 and 19, because it's a question of, this guy got caught with a knife when he was 17 years old, before he even became an adult. Is he a risk? Does that deserve a deportation or not? And the logical answer to that is, if we're not deporting people, adults, grown adults, who are stabbing people in the neck, then what are we doing pushing for deportation with him? But what's happening in my case is sabotage. They're looking at my YouTube views. Officers are looking at my YouTube views, and it's burning their insides. It's making them look at them. We don't want this young man to succeed. We don't want him to be a success story. How can we stop him from being a success story? And that's what's really happening here. Don't tell me that you got caught with a knife at 17, that's why we're trying to deport you. But Skengdo done 2 months in prison and went back to his career. Jay Huss did 3, went back to his career. Should I carry on? If I spent the whole day naming rappers that have been caught with a knife and gone back to their career, we'd be here the whole day. I'm the only person that gets nicked for a knife and gets sent out the country for it. Why? Because the police need to protect the public? No, it's sabotage. It's as simple as that. It's, you make music, you've got a big chance of actually becoming someone, we hate it, we rather see you rotting in a cell. So if we can pull strings to try and sabotage you, yeah, we'll do it. Get out of the country. Get out. That's what's really happening.
And then what happened with your appeal then?
So my appeal is pending. It's still pending today.
Then how did you get back to the UK?
Because it's pending.
So you're still allowed?
It's pending. So there's court dates and it still goes on and it still goes on and it's pending.
After a week, so as soon as you got to Germany, could you have just flown back as well? Or did you have to appeal before you? I
didn't know the laws. I probably could have. But I didn't know that. I don't know how the laws work. I was 19. So at that moment in time, I just thought, I've been sent here. I don't think I can go back. I mean, why would they send me here if I could simply just book a flight right back?
And what was life like when you got back? What was the reception like?
It was love. Everyone was happy to see me back. But the pain of it was, I'm a musician, right? Music is a very competitive industry, bro. So it's like, imagine working your ass off to rise all the way to the top of the mountain and you just about get there and the police are like, no, sabotage. We'll nick 100 people this year for knives and just get them 2 months and 3 months. But you, because you rap and you've got a bit of clout around your name, 2 years, and then we'll deport you because we want to sabotage and ruin you, right? So I was going through all of that. My enemies are making music. I don't even know why I call them enemies. I call them competition. They ain't enemies. I don't care about these people. We're not out to kill each other or hurt each other. They're musical competition. They make music, we make music, and we try to outdo each other. I don't want to see any of them dead. I don't think any of them want to see me dead. Do you know what I mean? But it's a form of art, but it's musical competition. So it's like, the right term would be my competitors are making music. They're rising to stardom. They're signing deals with Relentless and Sony and all these big record labels. I'm sat in a cell. I'm sat in limbo going, oh my days. Listening to the radio while people who I know I've got the better musical talent than are in a position that I could be in. Not because I don't have the ability to do it or the work drive, simply because I'm being held back intentionally by no offense, like independent officers who've taken it upon themselves to try and sabotage me. And that's exactly what it is. Because I'm sat in the radio listening to people that I know I can rap better than, and they're signing deals.
And the music that you was making back then was drill.
Yeah, it was drill music.
With drill music as well, why do you think there was such a stigma, a bad stigma around drill music?
Can I be realistic with you? I feel like anything black people come up with will have a bad stigma around it. Anything that people of color are the main faces of the brand will have a bad stigma around it. It's just how the world works. They done it with rap music, they done it with grime. The problem here isn't the music. People was rapping about knives and guns before drill even came about. I can go on YouTube now and show you videos from 2000 and, do you want me to? And 5 where people were rapping about knives, shanks, blah, blah, blah. It's not drill. That music's always been around.
But I think it would be fair to say that with some drill, it can be very, very morbid.
Well, demonic to an extent. I'll tell you where that comes from. Drill doesn't, these rappers are not going to the studio making this music because they're demonic people. They're down to earth, most people anyways. The reason why they make music like that is because they're all trying to outdo each other, right? You hear a track and it says some crazy lyrics in there. It gets views. The crazier the things you say, the more plays it's gonna get on Spotify. People are trying to succeed, man. They're seeing that guy drop music and say some outrageous stuff, so they're thinking, how can I outdo him? Let me say something even more outrageous. But to the police, it's like, he said, what? That sounds mad. He said, what? The reality of it is, these people ain't monsters like they portray to be. There may be that small 5% of morons that's out here that trying their hardest to be monsters, but the majority of rappers I know in real life, they're down-to-earth people. Do you understand? Everyone's just trying to outdo everyone musically. So everyone's in the studio thinking, that guy said something crazy, let me say something crazier. Yeah.
Because I was watching a few videos and it was almost like people would get points for people they've stabbed. And it's like...
It's childish. What it is this year, it's like, how do I describe it? It's not even that people are getting points for people they stabbed, yeah. What it is like, cool, put it this way. Someone's turned the streets of London into some dumb game, knife game. Yeah, and every once in a while, everyone plays it and someone dies. And that's the sad reality about it, right? Majority of fights could be sorted if people use their fist. However, nobody uses their fist, right? And it's just as simple as that. Like, people have, do you know what I mean? It's just as simple as that. Like, there's a game going on the streets of London. And it's not even a points. It's not even a points thing. It's nothing to do with the points. Like, forget points. It's just a game, right? The whole carrying knives thing is a game. Because I'll be honest with you, do you think majority of people that have stabbed somebody and he died wanted to kill him? Is that what you think? I know a lot of people, not proud of it, but I know a lot of people who unfortunately are spending a long time out of their life in prison. A long time out of their life in prison. And I speak to them. They ain't proud of it. If they could bring the person back to life now, they would. And that's the facts of it. And that's majority. You go to anyone that's in prison doing a life sentence and say, if you can bring him back to life, would you? Yeah. Yeah. Go to anyone and ask. And like, I'll be honest with you, I mean, you know what the worst part is? When people get done for murder. These boys ain't murderers, bro. They're idiots. Idiot's the right word for them. There should be a conviction that says idiocy. Because they're not murderers, bro. They're idiots. These people will stab a guy and pray for him right after and say, God, please don't let him die. But then he does. And now you're doing a life sentence. No, really. And that's what's really going on in London. It's not, oh, I want to kill that guy, so I'm going to take a knife and stab him. Everyone's scared.
Hey, what was your last song called?
SAS.
What was that abbreviated for?
Stabbers and shooters.
Why would you feel the need to call a song that?
No, it's not. It's not to promote it. It's to talk about what we've come from, right? If you hear the lyrics in it, it goes, he talking tough because you think I'm a rapper. Boy, let me tell you what the truth is, yeah? It's more of a reflection of where I come from. And you know, I'm so confused about, like a lot of people in the public, yeah? Because they will say things like, why has the song got such a negative title? Negativity sells. Negativity sells. It's just as simple as that. If we was to talk about any other rapper, and the rap scene is filled with rappers who portray a hood image that they don't even, majority of rappers at the top, they're not even hood at all, but they put it on. Their videos are filled with guys with masks and blacked out, looking like they looking the part. Why? Why would a person who looks perfectly good, do you know what I mean, lives a good life, spoiled with their parents, go and chill in a hood around by people and film his videos there? Why? Because that's what sells. I can make a song saying, put down the guns, put down the knives, don't carry a knife, don't carry a gun, life would be a lot more fun. You think it's gonna sell? You think anyone's gonna buy it? You think labels are gonna go, oh, this song's banging? No, the labels sign, no offense, the biggest, baddest wolf. That's how I seen it. When I was growing up and I looked at my TV screens, they had 50 Cent on there. 50 Cent didn't rap about, I'm gonna put down my gun and I'm gonna put down my... No, 50 Cent, no offense. You know what I'm saying? He laid the blueprint for what we do today. So I've never understood why people look at rappers today and say, why are they rapping about certain things and negativity? It sells. Even for women, I don't know how to describe it. Have you seen the music industry for women? I know 5, 6 female artists, right, who've been trying to get their music to pop for years, right? And they don't really pop like that. But you know what? They switch up their style, start dressing a bit more sexualized, you know, a bit more exposing, and now their music's popping. What does that tell you? Negativity sells. Those girls had talent. They didn't need to take their clothes off for you to see that they had talent. They had talent. But it took for them to have to be a bit more, let me take this off, for the public to say, cool, let me start looking now. Let me actually pay attention a bit more. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Negativity sells. So I call the song SAS, only because I didn't want to annoy the police. And also because GRM didn't want to call it SAS. They called the title inflammatory, which I don't agree with. I feel like, I'll be honest, I just feel like that's sabotage. Because I'll be honest, if I was an American and I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see a title called Stabbers and Shooters, I want to click on it. Even if I don't know who the artist is or what the song is, it's called Stabbers and Shooters, for fuck's sake. Click. So that's another reason why I called it that, because I thought it's an eye-catching title and it sounds so crazy, people will click on it. But it's in no shape or form glamorizing it. Like, I'm not here trying to say, yo, you want to be a stabber and shooter. No, I got 2 little brothers, they're nerds. And I'm saying this because I know they're going to watch it and I want them to be nerds. You understand? And it's not a bad thing to be a nerd. Like, being a good kid who don't carry knives is cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I could go back in time, I would have done a lot of things differently. I would have partied a lot more and been a nerd too. Where was you when I had to sleep in the park? But dark times don't last. I took my pain, I turned it to art. They can't tell me I'm fake when all these bars came from the heart. And they can't tell me I'm lucky, because they knew the times it was hard. And yeah, I've been real from the start. I spent years locked, stressing my marge. This government tried to tear us apart. The fans don't know who's real or fake. It's hard to tell us apart. And I still show love, even though it comes from a broken heart. You don't know fake love until you go broke or jail full laugh. I take no days off, because I don't want to go back. I don't want to full laugh. A1 for the 9, where was you when I had to sleep in the park?